Fact: on the Isle of Skye, there exists a place in the landscape named Fairy Glen, where, it is said, if you make a wish, it must come true. Fact: Roslin Chapel, located in a small town in Scotland, is widely rumored to be the final resting place of the Holy Grail, rumored to be concealed behind a hidden wall in a crypt in its lower levels. What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. Chapter 1. Highlands, Scotland, 1350. Caitlin woke to a blood-red sun. It filled the entire sky, a ball on the horizon, impossibly large. Standing against it was a lone silhouette, a figure she sensed could only be her father. He held out both arms, as if wanting her to run to him. She desperately wanted to, but as she tried to sit up, she looked down and saw she was chained to a rock, iron clasps holding her wrists and feet in place. In one hand she held 3 keys, the keys she knew she needed to reach her father, and in the other her necklace, its small silver cross dangling in her palm. She struggled as hard as she could, yet she could not move. Caitlin blinked, and suddenly her father was standing over her, smiling down. She could feel the love radiating off of him. He knelt down and gently unlocked her chains. Caitlin leaned forward and hugged him, and she could feel his warmth, his reassurance. It felt so good to be in his arms. She could feel the tears pouring down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, Father. I let you down." He pulled back and looked at her, smiling as he stared directly into her eyes.
"You have done all I could have hoped for, and more,"
he answered.
"Just one last key, and we will be together forever."
Caitlin blinked, and when she opened her eyes, he was gone. In his place were 2 figures, lying motionless on a rocky plateau, Caleb and Scarlet. Suddenly, Caitlin remembered their sickness. She tried to move from the rock, but she was still chained, and struggle as she did, she couldn't reach them. She blinked, and Scarlet suddenly stood over her, looking down. "Mommy?" she asked. Scarlet smiled down at her, and Caitlin could feel her love enveloping her. She wanted to hug her, and she struggled for all she had, but she could not break free. "Mommy?" Scarlet asked again, reaching out a single, small hand. Caitlin sat bolt upright. Breathing hard, she ran her hands along her sides, trying to figure out if she were still chained or if she were free. She moved her hands and feet freely and looked around and saw no signs of chains. She looked up and saw a huge, blood-red sun sitting on the horizon, then looked around and saw that she was lying on a rocky plateau, just as in her dream. Dawn was just breaking over the horizon. As far as she could see were mountain peaks, covered in mist, endlessly beautiful against the open sky. She peered into the muted light of dawn, trying to make out her surroundings, and as she did, her heart leapt. There, lying in the distance, were 2 figures, unmoving. She could already sense who it was, Caleb and Scarlet. Caitlin jumped to her feet and ran over to them, kneeling between them, reaching out one hand to each of their chests, shaking them lightly. Her heart pounded with fear as she struggled to remember the events of their previous incarnation.